Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus here with a review of the Sons of Cybertron of Transformers Animated of TakaraTOMY's 2010 special offerings. Now, there's one thing about these two guys which is probably pretty obvious to you, which is that they are crystal versions of the Deluxe Earth Mode Optimus Prime and the Deluxe Rodimus Major? Prime? Whatever. That's not the only notable thing about these guys, though. This is also the initial release in Japan of both of these molds. That means that the Japanese fans are getting to play with these molds first in clear plastic, if they didn't import them. And internationally, this is also the first legal release of Rodimus. We're getting him in crystal first. Fun little tidbits, guys. Anyway, let's look at the pair of Autobot commanders in a more individual scope. Sons of Cybertron, transform! Oh my, that's quite a crystal cab you've got there, Optimus Prime. Aside from its obvious crystal qualities, the one thing I want to point out about the cab is that the front windshields are clear, but the piece of plastic they're on has red paint apps around it, or at least either clear red paint apps or some kind of precise red dyeing of the clear plastic. It's very impressive and not something I was expecting out of a crystal toy release like this. And to stack them up to the version that we may all know and love, or at least know, or at least possess, here's the Battle Begins Deluxe Optimus Prime. So here's a normal version with battle damage, and here's a clear crystal version. There's one more version that could go in the middle. I don't know when I'll ever have it, but as you can see, there are some small differences. There's a lighter blue on the side windows, and this dude, he's so crystal and transcendent, he doesn't even need actual colors on his lights up there. But, let's robot mode these dudes with a crystal flash! And now we can see some of the small differences and big differences between these two. Specifically, the lack of battle damage. This Crystal Optimus Prime is our first real glimpse into what a proper release of the one on the right could look like, and it's quite promising. For instance, he's got 2 sets of yellow bars in his pelvis. That's really about it. The differences are quite obvious here. What's nice to point out is on the Crystal one, again, he's got what appear to be almost like crystal paint apps on different parts of his body that seem to be cast in colorless clear plastic, that then had some colors applied to them in a way that still maintained the crystallicity. Also, I really like the blue on the legs. I wish there was more of this blue, just in the world in general. The other major thing to compare between these guys would be their mighty axes. Now, as you can see, the one we all know and love was cast in clear blue and had paint apps on it. This one was cast in just clear, and then had the red treatment done to everything except for the blade here. This blade tends to look red in certain angles, but when you actually give it a proper look, it's clear. So it's a really neat effect, and I kind of wish it had somehow been applied to the insides here, like on the blue on this axe, but minor quibble. The only other thing I can really bring up would be that if we look into the face of Crystal Prime, you can see a whole lot more of his crystal hood. The crystal figures are fun just because when you shine lights around them, they look cool, and Prime here is no exception. His eyes are white, or at least, again, colorless clear crystal plastic, but it's just such a neat effect. I mean, just check this out. This is badass. Anyway, something about this Prime that's interesting, too, is that he's an old toy at this point. He's, 2 years old now? And packaging him with Rodimus, who's one of the final animated toys, in the engineering, you can really see the growth. Not to say I dislike this guy, he's a cool toy, but packaging him with Rodimus is almost a bit of a disservice. He still has the He-Man gimmick, and he has one thing which is kind of annoying, which is that his shoulder joints are pretty loose. And I think that that's because they are clear plastic on clear plastic, and perhaps just the friction cannot exist there when you have 2 huge wads of clear plastic. I don't know. I mean, like, sometimes these joints work, like these ball joints and his elbows work really well with the gray, so plastic tolerances, people. Let's all become chemists and learn them. Anyway, none of you guys are really here to learn about this Optimus, are you? No, you all want to know about the new guy. You all want to know about the Chosen One. This is almost one of the sexiest sport cars I've ever seen, except that it has a crossbow on the top. I just wanted to show you can do that. The missiles actually seem to be scratching the spoiler a little bit, so off you go. That's better. Check this thing out. Just look at the curves, sleek lines, and sexiness. I am going to not be doing a fully detailed review on Rodimus because I want to wait till I get the proper colors one, but there's a whole lot that's evident by looking at this vehicle mode, i.e. the sexiness. And I have a little story, which is that this guy is so well engineered, when I was transforming him to this for the first time, I was like, man, where am I going to fit his legs? There's no room under here for them or his boots. They fit perfectly and precisely. This is gorgeous, gorgeous engineering. Regardless of your thoughts on the aesthetics of animated, you cannot deny how cleanly done this transformation is. Also, I kind of like how his tires are a sort of smoky clear gray, much like Stealth Lockdown. Now, if you'll excuse me, we're going to sadly eschew his beautiful transformation and simply say, Crystal Flash! And from that gorgeous transformation, we also get a gorgeous robot mode. I will take the time to say that I love how Rodimus's car mode is almost entirely integrated into his own body mass, leaving very little in terms of car parts hanging off of him. He doesn't even have much of a backpack. It's just beautiful how this guy was done. So beautiful, in fact, I almost dropped him. And his crossbow, his double missile-launching crossbow, is so characterful and unique that I dropped it too. But with that out of the way, let me show you how it goes into his hand. Effortlessly. This thing is beautiful. It's really oddly fitting to the character aesthetically, and I really enjoy how he's got calm open hands that can still hold something. This guy's one downside, the one and only downside that I really tend to cite on him, is that his elbows are a little bit fickle. Aesthetically, it's nice to have the pipes on the sides, but then you can't really get them fully straight, or you can't start bending them up here, and then you have to swivel them around this way. On the bright side, they are on a swivel and a ball joint, so it's easy to manipulate them as you need to do so, but I kind of wish that they could be a little bit straighter. I don't know, it might be an artistic thing, and really, it's the tiniest problem I could ever have with this guy. He's a really well done figure, and an excellent way to end animated, if this truly is the end. The clear plastic treatment robs Rodimus of some of his head paint apps, but it does make it a little bit clearer that he's got that cool animated thing where he not only has light piping, but he's got light piping with pupils in his eyes. It's kind of neat. His eyes are also technically white, unpainted clear plastic like Optimus's, and the clear plastic treatment is very kind to Rodimus. This clear red is immaculately ruby-like in how gorgeous it is. And even if you're not really into clear figures, it's hard to say that this is not striking in any way. And I think it's striking in every way. That all having been said, I am really looking forward to getting this guy in his proper colors so I can give him a more detailed review. The reason I'm not doing it on this one is because, well, technically this is a variant. It's just that, for whatever reason, the variant came out first. The world is a funny place sometimes. So as a whole, are the animated Sons of Cybertron worth it? Well, right now, they are a hot ticket item because it's the only way to properly get Rodimus without going through stolen Chinese channels. But once we all have our opaque Rodimuses, Sigh, will this set still have any draw? Well, here's how I see it. As a pair of crystallized versions of characters, they're really beautiful to look at. So this set showcases, in a crystalline way, animated Rodimus and animated Prime. It is really only for hardcore collectors, though. And if you absolutely do not care for translucent plastic, or Transformers animated, this may hold no real draw for you. I think the main people who will be after this set in the long term will be hardcore animated fans, hardcore Optimus fans, especially hardcore Rodimus fans, and anyone who's going completist on the TakaraTOMY 2010 stuff. 2 out of those 4 really fits the bill on me. Try to guess which in the comments. So overall, I'm satisfied with this set. And if you fit any of those criteria, I think you'll get a kick out of it too. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus. I hope this has been revealing to you in some way, or helped you come to a decision on these guys. And I'll see you all on another crystal flashing horizon of a brand new day. Now they're all gonna think I'm gonna review Spider-Man.